Two highways to goodbye: intrinsic versus extrinsic. So two highways, inside job and outside order. The intrinsic path is the I looked in the mirror and didn't like what I saw route. It starts in the mitochondria, the cell's power plants, but also its emergency exit. When damage piles up, DNA breaks, stalled replication, low oxygen, no growth factors, the cell checks a family of bouncers called BCL2 proteins. Some are bodyguards that keep the mitochondria calm, BCL2, BCLXL, and some are hitmen that push the big red button, BAX, Decay plus the BH3 only crew like BIM, BID, Puma Naga. If the balance tilts toward danger, BAX and back punch pores in the mitochondrial outer membrane. That's the point of no return. Cytochrome C, which normally helps make energy, spills into the cytosol and teams up with APAF1 to build a wheel-shaped apoptosome. That wheel recruits and activates initiator caspase 9. Caspase 9 then lights up the effector pair, caspase 3 and caspase 7, which methodically dismantle the cell. It's not chaos, it's a checklist. Who decides to let BAX and BAC loose? Those BH3-only proteins are like sensors wired to stress lines. Puma and Nogza respond to P53 when DNA is wrecked. BAD and BIM respond to lost growth signals or cytoskeleton stress. BID can even relay outside orders inside. More on that in a second. The point is, the mitochondria collect votes from all these sensors. Enough red flags, and the door opens. Now the extrinsic path. This is you've been served from the outside. On a cell's surface sit DEF receptors, FAS, CD95, TNF receptor 1, and trail receptors. When immune cells decide a cell is infected, precancerous, or just dangerous, they display matching ligands or release them. FAS ligand, TNF alpha, trail. Those ligands snap onto the receptors and assemble a kill platform inside called the DISC, the death-inducing signaling complex. DISC pulls in an adapter, FAD, and procaspase 8. Caspase 8 activates, then either directly slices and activates caspase 3-7, or in some cells, cleaves BID into TBID. TBID runs to the mitochondria and tells BAX back, open the door. So yes, the highways cross. Outside orders can recruit the inside demolition team for extra punch. Y2 roads, redundancy and control. The intrinsic path watches the cell's health from the inside. The extrinsic path lets the immune system make targeted calls, kill the virus factory, prune dangerous clones, keep tissues orderly. Together, they're a fail-safe. If one gate sticks, the other can pull it open. Let's keep the players straight. Sensors and switches, the BH3-only proteins, BIM, BID, PMA, NOGs are bad. Read stress and push the decision. Gatekeepers, BCL2 and BCLXL hold the mitochondrial door shut. BAX and BAC open it when told. Spark plug, cytochrome C plus APAF1 build the apoptosome to fire caspase 9. Executioners, caspase 3 and caspase 7 finish the job. Outside line, DEF receptors, FAS, TNFR1, trail R, with FAD and caspase 8 start the extrinsic cascade. And there are breaks. Flip can sit in the disc and block caspase 8. IAPs, inhibitor of apoptosis proteins, can handcuff caspases after they start. The mitochondria even stash a counter to the counter, SMAC Diablo, which flies out with cytochrome C to neutralize IAPs. It's a chess match. Move, counter, move, counter, counter, move. Here's the decision logic in plain English. The cell asks, is the damage fixable? Are growth and survival signals present? Are neighbors or immune cells waving a death flag at me? If yes to I'm dangerous, or no to I can repair, the pro-death BH3 crew overwhelms the BCL2 bodyguards. The mitochondrial door opens and caspases roll. If immune cells tag the cell, the receptor pack can bypass dithering and push caspase 8. In some cells, that's enough on its own. In others, called type 2 cells like many hepatocytes, it needs to amplify through mitochondria via TBID. Same destination, different on-ramps. Quick real-world tie-in. UV-baked skin, intrinsic. DNA damage, P53 up, hemanognerized, back pores peel. Killer T-cells zapping a virus-infected cell, extrinsic. Facile-fast handshake, caspase 8, apoptosis without blowing up the block, both end clean. Because efferocytosis scoops the pieces fast and releases let's not freak out lipid mediators to keep inflammation quiet. One last thing, these pathways aren't museum pieces, they're targets. Cancer often overexpresses BCL2 to lock the mitochondrial door or mutates downstream caspases. Some viruses crank up flip to jam caspase 8. On the flip side, therapies and lifestyle signals try to restore sane thresholds. So normal cells survive stress, and broken cells can't slither past the exit. Now that we've mapped the roads, who waves traffic through? Enter the referee that reads the stress, stalls the cycle to repair, or says enough. That call lies with P53. The referee P53 damage checks and cell fate. Meet P53, the cell's head referee, also known as the guardian of the genome. It's a protein that sits quiet until stress hits. Then it walks onto the field and calls the play. Pause and repair. Go back to work, or blow the whistle and end the game. It does this mostly by turning genes on or off. So think of P53 as a transcription boss with a very short patience for nonsense. And in human cancers overall, the TP53 pathway is disabled startlingly often. Mutations in TP53 itself show up in roughly half of tumors, and many others gag P53 indirectly. So when the ref is gone, bad cells skate. Here's how it wakes up. Serious DNA damage flips on alarm kinases like ATM. They tag P53 with tiny chemical flags, phosphorylations, that stop its usual babysitter, MDM2, from dragging it to the trash. Stabilized P53 builds up fast. With more P53 around, it binds DNA and orders a triage. If damage is modest, P53 pushes P21, a break that halts the cell cycle at checkpoints like G1S and G2M. Pausing buys time for repair crews. Base excision, nucleotide excision, all the patch kits to fix the genome. But there's a line. When damage crosses it, tons of breaks, stalled replication that won't clear, hypoxia that starves energy, P53 tilts hard toward apoptosis. It turns up pro-def genes like PUMA and NOXA, which, as we just saw, tip the BCL2 balance and open the mitochondrial door. P53 can even help from the sidelines in the cytoplasm by nudging BCLXL, making the mitochondria more willing to let go. That's the moment the demolition team rolls. Pause or delete isn't the only choice. Sometimes P53 chooses senescence, a kind of permanent coffee break. The cell stops dividing for good, stays metabolically active, and often secretes a grumpy mix of signals. It's safer than letting a risky cell replicate, but it's not free. Too many senescent cells can age tissues and stir chronic inflammation. So P53's call has trade-offs. Quick, clean death versus long-term arrest. Why should you care? Because when the referee is broken, the game turns ugly. In more than half of human cancers, the TP53 gene is mutated, or the pathway is muzzled. With P53 offline, cells blow past damage checkpoints, skip repair, and dodge apoptosis. Mutations pile up. Survival pathways run hot. It's like removing the smoke detector and then lighting candles near the curtains. Tumors love that. It's not just mutations in P53 itself. Some cancers supercharge MDM2, the P53 suppressor, effectively gagging a healthy referee. Others rewire downstream, even if P53 tries to trigger PUMA and NOXA. The cell overexpresses BCL2 or MCL1 and locks the mitochondrial door anyway. The result is the same. Dangerous cells that should have been deleted keep dividing. Viruses play this game too. Many learned to handcuff p53 because a working p53 would spot the chaos of viral replication and call for apoptosis. So viral proteins either drag p53 to degradation or block its DNA binding power. That gives infected cells time to crank out more virus before the immune system catches on. Back to healthy cells. p53 doesn't act alone, it reads the room. It listens to growth factors, nutrient status, and redox signals. At night, when melatonin naturally rises, mitochondria are a little more guarded, which can help neurons survive routine stress and reduce accidental apoptosis from minor hits. Melatonin also nudges antioxidant enzymes inside mitochondria, adding a small safety buffer without muting real danger signals. During the day, if you flood cells with constant growth signals and oxidative stress, p53 sits at a harder crossroads more often. Context shapes the call, and the call is graded, not binary. Low-level stress? Pi53 pulses, short measured bursts that pause the cycle, fix things, and release the brake. Heavy stress? The pulses grow stronger and longer, shifting the gene program from repair to remove. Biochemically, that shift tracks with specific tags on p53. Some modifications favor arrest genes, others favor pro-apoptotic ones. Your cells tune the dial, not just flip a switch. Here's the plot twist that matters later. Restoring a fair referee is a real therapy goal. Some drugs try to reactivate mutant p53, others block MDM2 so wild-type p53 can function. When that works, cancer cells that were skating past checkpoints suddenly face consequences. Meanwhile, everyday choices that lower background DNA damage, sleep aligned with your clock, sane UV exposure, fewer smoke and toxin hits, mean p53 can spend more time in pause and repair mode and less time in we need to delete half this neighborhood. So p53 is timing, thresholds, and proportion. When it's intact, your tissue stays sane. When it's lost or muzzled, cells make bad bets, and those bets compound. Next, we'll see what happens when the death call stops coming at all. How too little apoptosis lets cells go rogue and build tumors. Too little death, how cells go rogue. So what happens when the self-destruct button stops working? Cells don't just get lazy, they go rogue. Cancer is, at its core, a failure of apoptosis plus a few extra superpowers. Imagine a city with no fire alarms, no building codes, and free pizza for arsonists. That's a tissue where damaged cells never get deleted. Start with the obvious culprit. Break the referee. Mutations in TP53, the gene for p53, show up in over half of human cancers. With p53 gone or gagged, cells barrel through checkpoints with shredded DNA, skip repair, and dodge the call to die. Even when p53 is technically present, tumors often crank up MDM2 to muzzle it. Same effect, no red card, no ejection. But tumors don't just remove the ref, they padlock the exit. A classic move is overexpressing BCL2, the mitochondrial bodyguard that keeps the death door shut. Follicular lymphoma is textbook here. A chromosomal translocation parts BCL2 under a strong promoter, the protein piles up, and those B cells become stubbornly hard to kill. They don't divide faster than normal at first, they just refuse to leave, so the population swells. It's hoarders, but with lymph nodes. Melanoma plays a related trick with MCL1 and BCLXL, tilting the balance against back's back so the mitochondria won't open even when everything screams open. Colorectal cancers often stitch together survival circuitry too, mutations that hyperactivate the PI3K-AKT pathway pump. In "you're safe, keep growing" signals. AKT then phosphorylates and inactivates pro-death players like BAD while boosting mTOR and metabolism. NFKB, another favorite, flips on genes that block caspases and promote inflammation that feeds growth. It's like installing triple deadbolts on the apoptosis door and telling the cops the alarms are just car backfires. Now layer in the immune angle. Healthy T cells can tag precancerous cells via death receptors like FAS. But many tumors downregulate FAS, upregulate FLIP to jam caspase 8, or secrete "Don't kill me" signals that blunt immune attacks. That's one reason early tumors can sit in tissues for years without being cleared. The extrinsic pathway is muted at the front door. The intrinsic pathway is chained from the inside. Therapy pressure makes this worse. Chemotherapy and radiation try to break DNA so cancer cells commit apoptosis. If the tumor has already silenced p53 or cranked up BCL2 family members, it shrugs off the hit. The survivors aren't random. They're the subclones most resistant to death, which then expand. That's how resistance evolves. We select for cells with the strongest anti-apoptotic wiring. Metastasis demands the same talent. When cells detach from their home, normal ones trigger anoikes, a form of apoptosis that says, "wrong neighborhood." Metastatic cells disable that response, so they drift through blood like hitchhikers who stole the car. Let's make this concrete. In follicular lymphoma, the BCL2 translocation T1418 is so common, it's practically a calling card. Those cells look oddly normal under the microscope. They're just immortal-ish. In melanoma, you'll often see wild-type P53, but sky-high MCL1, so the referee is waving, but the door won't budge. In colorectal cancer, mutations upstream, APC loss, KRAS activation, light up survival and proliferation pathways, while later events erode apoptotic competence. That's why later-stage tumors can be so stubborn. And the environment matters. Tumors hijack surrounding cells to feed them, pro-survival cues. Growth factors, cytokines, even lactic acid landscapes that stress normal cells but feel like home to cancer. Hypoxia in the tumor core flips on HIF factors that both push angiogenesis and rewire metabolism to tolerate stress without dying. It's a hostile ecosystem tuned to keep apoptosis off. So, can we pry the door back open? This is where targeted drugs got clever. BH3 mimetics like venetoclax are small molecules that impersonate the pro-death BH3-only proteins. They slip into BCL2's binding pocket and disarm it. In certain leukemias where BCL2 is the main lock, venetoclax is a sledgehammer. Cancer cells suddenly face the stress they've been hiding from, and they go. But biology never leaves an unguarded flank. Some tumors switch addiction to MCL1 or BCL-XL or ramp up alternative survival pathways. Combination strategies try to block multiple guards at once. Upstream, drugs that restore p53 function or block MDM2 can reawaken the referee in tumors that keep wild-type p53 suppressed. In the right context, you see a wave of apoptosis after years of stalling. And on the extrinsic side, therapies that boost immune killing, checkpoint inhibitors, don't directly force apoptosis, but they unleash T cells that can re-engage death receptor routes. The end result is the same: make dangerous cells mortal again. Here's the key takeaway for this too little death chapter. Cancer isn't just growth gone wild, it's death gone missing. The core hallmarks, unchecked division, genome instability, invasion, are possible because the kill switch is jammed. When we fix that switch, even briefly, tumors crack. And when everyday choices lower background damage and calm survival, overdrive in healthy tissue, you make it harder for a bad clone to both arise and cheat the exit. Next, we'll flip the script. What happens when the switch is too eager and cells die that we desperately need? Too much death when the system overcorrects. All right, flip the coin. If cancer is not enough death, this side is way too much. Same machinery, different outcome. When apoptosis fires off in the wrong cells or at the wrong intensity, you don't get tumors, you get tissue loss. And the body can't just regrow neurons like dandelions. Start with the brain, because that's where overzealous apoptosis really hurts. In Parkinson's, the dopamine-making neurons in the substantia nigra are fragile. Mitochondrial stress loads up, oxidative damage, misfolded alpha-synuclein, and those cells tip toward the intrinsic pathway. Baxen back, open the door, cytochrome C spills, caspases light up, and neurons bow out. The problem is, you don't get a spare set. As those neurons die, Movement slows, tremors start, and once enough are gone, function tips. Alzheimer's is messy too. Amyloid and tau aren't just clutter. They trigger stress responses that push vulnerable neurons toward apoptosis. The cleanup is tidy at first, but the end result is whole circuits going dim. ALS? Motor neurons die faster than you can compensate. Different triggers, same final route. A kill switch pressed too often. Now picture a stroke. Blood flow stops. Cells run out of oxygen and ATP. Some die by necrosis right away. But when blood returns, reperfusion, you get a second wave. Reactive oxygen species spike, calcium floods in, mitochondria freak out. That delayed hit often lands as apoptosis. Same in heart attacks. The first minutes are chaos. The hours after are a silent culling as the intrinsic pathway checks the damage and many cells decide they can't be saved. It's why timing is everything.